Hello folks, Duncan at Free as an Eagle. I was just getting ready to go home, hitting the afternoon wall. Tired, long week, a lot of work. Big hike Monday up Mount Greylock on a trail that went about a little over 10 miles, so I'm feeling it, and I just climbed up the ladder to get up here, so I'm a little out of breath. I'm definitely tired, but I want to say hi and just quick catch up on where we're at right now with the Aframe. Going along very well, working hard. My son Carter and I have been really jamming. So my last big achievement was getting this south wall with the windows trimmed out. That was fun. And we've been carrying on since then. Carter's been standing up a lot of trim for us. And we've been installing some of it. And some of it's going to have to wait until we get other things done underneath. For example, we are hoping to get the staging out of here. And that's holding out for the ceiling fan, which just came today, is waiting for me at the house. It's going to hang off that odd beam that's kind of hanging down looking strange. That's going to hang the ceiling fan, and that'll be a pretty big one, 52 inch, I think the blade diameter is when it gets out there. So I had to be suspended a little lower from the main ceiling, and I don't like hanging them on a chain or something or a rod because if it's not perfectly in balance, it'll start wobbling. So this way that beam will allow us to fasten it directly and kind of knock out any kind of wobbling effect. And that way we can push the warm air down and the cool air up on a seasonal basis. So that's a big thing. And as soon as that's in here, I think the need for the staging will go away, and then that will be wonderful to get that out of there. And we got the one side done over by the wood stove down to the floor, and then this side we will finish sanding out. As soon as that staging is out of there, it's tied to the wall, and we'll be able to get that wall sanded and painted. And in the upstairs, we actually worked today and got a second coat in here. So now the big dormer, which basically would be the bedroom area with this nice little triangle window, that will be able to be trimmed out with 2 coats of paint on it now, and we'll be able to trim out the windows, put covers on the outlets, so it's all starting to come together in a really nice way. One sort of major sub-project is to put in the wall. There's a strip now. There's so many other strips of wood, it's hard to tell, but the one with the paint on it here is going to be the dividing wall between the bedroom and the little balcony. You can see there's about 4 feet of floor there. The stairs are you can see them. They're kind of obscured right now. They're covered with paper to protect them during construction, but the stairs come up to the top of this little balcony, then you'll come across directly, and there'll be a door here. And then Carter had a wonderful idea, which I hadn't really considered, but because all these doors, they're really pretty doors and I love them, but they don't have any glass in them. The front doors coming in have glass in them. There's a slider, and those are really pretty doors, but because they don't have any glass in them, it won't be possible to see out in this direction. The skylight is in the area of the balcony, so that will bring light onto the balcony, but this wall here will have the door in it. But Carter had a cool idea. I thought of putting a rectangular window in, but we're going to have a closet on the left side, and that would kind of preclude putting a window unless it was high. But he's like, well, you can get another triangle and build it into a wall. And I'm like, you know what? That would be awesome. That way we get a little bit of a view out the high side. So there'll be the 8-foot wall with the door in it with more wall going above that, but if we framed a little triangle window into that right above where the door header is, then we could have some light coming in from this side and from the little loft, and even from, well, probably best from up here in the little loft, we could have maybe one of those smaller triangles. The big ones are pretty costly and hard to get hold of. They have to be custom made, so I don't want to wrestle with another large one. But being that's a bedroom and we have light pouring in every other direction, we'll probably put a small triangle in the wall above the door, and that would be a nice way to have a little light come in off that side. And the nice thing with the balcony is be able to step out onto this little balcony, and then we'll have a couple of chairs on the left side where there's room for them. On the right side, there might be room for a little bit of a closet or a little bit of space there for whatever. And then you got the little dormer, which is all done. That was done with wood, so that's happy. And then I got this funny little green plant. They gave these away. They were starting to look terrible and die a couple months ago at Home Depot, and the lady's like, do you want one of these? And I'm like, I don't know, I'll take one, why not? And I brought it back here and it was turning brown and going to die, so I clipped the bad stuff off. And sure enough, with a little watering, it's come back and it's actually kind of cute. So that's our little mascot plant so far for in here. What else am I going to say? Yeah, so downstairs, I will go ahead on down. So yeah, the bathroom walls and this little kind of entry area, we had sheetrock in the way, which I'm actually going to use up in the next few days. And then I got to order a bunch more for all the downstairs ceilings and for this wall. So we'll take a little walk downstairs and have a look at that. The downstairs is a huge mess. Everything's a mess when you're in the middle of construction. I was sanding. I actually was able to use a little orbital sander and rig it to a shop vac, and it actually worked out remarkably well. I'll show you what I got here. It was amazing how fast and effectively it worked. But it actually bought this little attachment with a screen, and that was something you could hook to a shop vac. But the darn thing was manual, and it hooked to the shop vac, but it didn't orbit or do anything that would allow you to not have to rub the thing, and it was exhausting. I did a couple hours of that one day, and I'm like, this thing is not really going to cut it. But then it had a nice little extra hose here with adapters to, one of them fit right directly on the little sander, and the other end was about the right size to go to the shop vac hose. So a little duct tape, and we were in business. And I accidentally, one day, the discs, when they wear out completely, have a weird tendency to fly off, and I didn't realize the disc get blown off at one point. I was grinding away on the sheetrock with no disc, and of course it ate this Velcro surface down. It still does stick a little bit. Surprisingly, I was able to do quite a bit of sanding with it, but I think I've got to order a new little base shoe for this, which isn't too expensive. But when I get done with this video, I'll take a picture of the sander. This is the second one that I've had on it because I did wear another one out. But I think I'll get another so that the pads stick better. But anyway, using that with gentle pressure, it's fast, and it just ground the stuff right down very fast. So it was a very effective way to do it. I was going to borrow a big one from my brother who's got a commercial one, but this little one actually got us through the whole job so far and did a remarkably good job. So, with my eyes not being the best, things look pretty good to me. And, and the nice thing is when you sand, you sand as best you can and you prime it, then you still got an opportunity before you put your finish coat on. I ended up buying one of these paints that it's not an all-in-one with a primer built in. It requires priming, but you prime it, and then with the light you can see if you need to do some touch-ups with the mud, and then if you do, you get a second shot at sanding it out, and so far that's been sufficient. So down here, okay, so we got some trim in here. Had to put base in to get the trim in, and then I realized these pieces actually have to wait till these ceilings go in. This is the dining area now. If I'm over toward the wood stove, I'll just give you a little perspective. So I'm looking from the south and toward the north, and this will be the living room area. Will be a couch here. The TV will be mounted up kind of above the stairs below where those strips end, and then the couch being here will give us a little bit of a view upward to the TV, and then the dining area will be where this little window is. That was originally going to be the kitchen window, but it'll let some nice light and air into the dining area. So the dining area is this area. These ceilings have to go up. Then this hallway ceiling, the kitchen ceiling. This sheetrock is going to be kind of next week's project. I'm hoping to finish out May with the ceilings and most of this other sheetrock up. And we'll be taping and painting all of that. And then, if we hit June and we're ready to if we basically have the bathrooms and the kitchen to finish and the floor to put down, we'll be in good shape. Most of the wiring's done. And the basement, I'm going to cover the outside areas of it with sheetrock for now. I'm going to save the rest of the finishing of that for future time. I want to be able to move in as soon as possible. So at this point, we're trying to get a sheetrock up and wiring done and then painting done. And the rest will be to follow. Then I got all these posts that Carter went ahead and polyed these up nicely. So these are going to be stair railing pieces, and that will be, in fact, we have a big one in the pile here. Pardon the mess. This is construction zone. So, yeah, so I got a 12-foot 4x4, which is going to actually be the one on this part of the stairs, right where they join the main deck. And there's a little bit of a bounce here in the floor if you're going up and down the stairs. So I decided to shoot that 12-foot post right down to the floor and tie it in and run it up and let it go up and be the top post on that one section of the stairs. And that will take the bounce out of the floor and carry the weight down to the floor down here. And then it'll be pretty close to the center girder. In fact, almost over it. So I'll probably just have to throw a little bit of blocking in the floor into there just to make sure it transfers the load to the framing down below. It doesn't just sit on the plywood. So that will make a nice sturdy staircase. So that's where we're at. And looks like decent weather. It was a cool day today. When I got up here in the morning, it was 35 and snowing. Not hard, but it was snowing. So definitely not summer yet, but it's sneaking up on us. One of these days, it's going to be 70 again. Anyway, beautiful day. Nice to look out here and see some of it completed. And little by little, the completion is going to work its way to the other end of the house. And we will be in a pretty happy place when it's done. Anyway, good talking to you. Hope you're doing good. And catch up with you again shortly. Take care.